Hi everyone, welcome to Honey Drops Tarot. This is a bonus reading for the sign of Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus. Aries, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all of your likes, shares, and subscribes. I truly appreciate it. Just a quick note, please do not fall for any scammers. I will never reach out to solicit for a private reading. I do offer private readings, and if you're interested in signing up for one of those or in making a donation, the information regarding that can be found in the About section of my YouTube page, and I thank you so much in advance. Aries, I hope that you're doing well. These readings are all about what your dreams are trying to tell you. I'm going to be using 3 decks for your reading today. The first one for the overall energy is going to be from the Wild Unknown Archetypes deck. And for your Oracle and Tarot portion of your reading, I'm going to be using both the Oracle of Mystical Moments and the Tarot of Mystical Moments, both by Katrin Welz-Stein, and they're amazing. I don't use these decks very often, but only on special occasions. So, cards have been pre-shuffled. For Aries, please. Thank you, Spirit. What message do you have for Aries? Overall energy for Aries. What their dreams are trying to tell them. The Castle. The Castle. I don't know what that number is. X. I'm going to have to learn these Roman numerals. XL. I. XL. No idea. The Castle, though, this is really interesting. The first thing I'm thinking of is I'm looking at this framing of pearls. And you know how when you're on YouTube, as you are, these just random videos will pop up and you'll watch one and then 1,000 more will show up. And then you find yourself fascinated. Sometimes I'm fascinated by what people do around the world. And there's these people who harvest oyster pearls. And sometimes I find myself watching them harvest it because it seems kind of like a cruel process. Like implanting these oysters with grains of sand and then watching them calcify over and then like extracting them. I don't know, it seems like a thing. But they are considered a rarity and valuable in some way, but I almost see it as like a trapping. And you know, a similar sentiment came out for the Leo reading, and Aries featured, or the sign of Aries featured prominently in the Leo reading I just did. So you might want to watch that if you have prominent Leo placements in your chart, or if you're dealing with a Leo. It's this sense that we are set within the framing and the trappings of wealth or luxury, or the sense that we need things like this. We need to frame ourselves with things of this kind of particular value, right? But the castle kind of serves as like a habitat of a multitude of different symbolic things, because a castle can be a place of fortification, like a fortress, like something that is safe and sturdy and strong. But it can also be like Rapunzel, let down your hair, you know, like we're stuck up in the tower of the castle and we're not being let out. This also reminds me, there's a, God, I wish I could remember it. It's so terrible. I learned about it all in art school, and now I can't remember it. It's a surrealist film. It's very famous, and I can't, Spirit's not giving it to me, but this eye reminds me of like a surrealist black and white film where things are bizarre. This is a very bizarre kind of composition to me. It feels unsettled. I feel unsettled by this color scheme with this color and this shade up here with the black and white kind of oblong cutout. Everything about this feels unsettled to me, but it also feels very wealthy and very, you know how Okay, Spirit, thank you, Spirit. Spirit just gave me, I saw a video this morning. This woman who's like stinking rich. I mean, she like goes casual shopping in her Rolls Royce, kind of rich. And she walked into like a Chanel store. Of course, they closed it out just for her to go shopping. And she showed up in like pajamas. And she probably spent, I don't even know, $50,000. Who knows? I don't know how much she spent because I don't know how much those clothes cost. And what she ended up buying was ugly. I mean, if you buy clothes that are too trendy, you might be cool for a hot second and then they fall out of style because then the next trend comes. That's why as people get older, it's better to just go with basics. And, you know, they always, I don't know who they is, people of YouTube, but the Spirit's bringing it to my head for a reason, in that it's all these trappings of wealth and prestige and what that's supposed to look like. But she rolled up in the store in her pajamas and it wasn't a good look. And, you know, she just looked like she was in college, because that's what college kids do. And to me, that did not represent wealth. It just represented just this sense of, I don't know what it represented. I can't really figure it out. I don't know why she did that. Because she could, I guess. But I feel like that's this dichotomy for you, where it's like you've worked so hard to achieve a certain status or a level, or you're working hard to achieve, or you want to, maybe you want to have this framing around you. And who am I to say that you can't? I mean, we all want to make more money, live comfortably, have nice things. Who doesn't want that? Of course we do. But Spirit is just kind of showing me that oyster again that's being sliced open so that this one little imperfect pearl can be extracted from it. Like, what's the cost? It's so funny. I was just playing around with the deck. I wasn't even, I have not pulled a single second card for anybody for these readings. And this card came out. I just was doing this. All right, so they don't all have pearls in them, I promise you, all the cards. This is about identity. See how it's like, what is being extracted from you right now? This is very profound. And I'm not doing it justice because I can't even, there's like a lot going through my head and I can't articulate it all. There's this fracture that's happening. And it says to me, and if you don't resonate with this, you don't resonate with this, fine. But it says to me that there's somebody out there that is really trying to understand their self-worth. There could be a tendency to think that it's external in what we own, how people perceive us in terms of our power or our possession, when it really is about the jewel, the light within. And if we're not careful, we could lose all sense of that, because then it becomes this fractured thing, right? It's fragmented. we're fragmented, you know, maybe through our experiences and our hurt. But it's the kind of beautiful tapestry coming all together that makes the self. It's not a coincidence, you know. Okay, so I'm gonna put that there. I'm gonna get 3 cards for the base spread from the Oracle, 3 cards for clarifier from the Tarot. Whoa, very chaotic. Okay. There's no particular spread here. I'm just reading the message as it comes out. There's no past, present, future, nothing like that. It's just the message that you need to hear right now. First card that we look at is Mermaid's Love. Number 24, which reduces to a 6, which is the Lover's card, Gemini energy in the Major Arcana. Mermaid's Love, I've talked about this. I think it came out, I want to say, in Cancer reading. Mermaid's Love is seemingly impossible. It's the sense that she lives under the sea and he lives on land. And when are they ever going to be able to meet? Spirit just showed me the film Lady Hawk. That is an old film. That film is from like the early 80s. Matthew Broderick, Michelle Pfeiffer, Rutger Hauer. And it's a film about like these 2 lovers. It could be twin flames. Yeah, they're probably twin flames. There are a lot of movies that we don't realize that are about twin flames. Anyway, these 2 lovers, they get cursed by some witch or something, and they both turn into animals. One turns into an animal at night, one turns into an animal in day. And so they can never be with one another, like physically. They are always together because when they're in their human form, they are their animal companion. But there's this moment in the movie, right? So they can't ever be together as humans, right? Because they're cursed. And what is his animal? I feel like he's a horse and she's a hawk. Lady Hawk, right? There's this moment at when the sun comes up and both of them are transforming either back from human to animal or animal to human, and they're just about to touch and the sun comes up and like they can't. It's horrible, but it's so hokey, but like it's an amazing film. But that's what I'm feeling here. It's like this impossible, and this could be what your dreams are about, right? Like you could have a divine counterpart or soulmate or past life soulmate or something like that. I could be talking to a twin, I don't know. Where you know, you feel them and you're like just about to touch and it just kind of dissipates. And it calls into question, like, where do you stop and where does the other person start? And if it's not another person or not another like kind of soul being, maybe it's just you and your higher self, where you're like trying to communicate with your soul, right? You're trying to connect, but there could be a lot of distraction and deviation. And it's this impossible, you feel like it's this impossible connection. But the thing about the Lover's card, it's also known as the choice card. What are we going to choose? How are we going to proceed? It's clarified by Temperance, Major Arcana, number 14. Sagittarius energy, so you could have Sagittarian placements or be dealing with a Sagittarius. This talks about patience. It talks about alchemization, kind of. I almost interpret this as a canopy and this as a canopy, and it's like up-leveling, like we're turning one thing into another thing, one thing into another thing. You got this card in reverse. It kind of represents to me impatience, like an impatience with yourself, a frustration. You're feeling frustrated, like I should have figured this out by now. At this point in my life, I should have figured this out by now. What should you have figured out? I mean, we're all on our journey. You're on your journey. I'm going to ask clarifier for the Temperance card in reverse. Whoa. Seven of Cups, confusion. I should have figured it out by now. Seven of Cups talks about being spoiled for choice. See all the stars here? Wishing on stars. Having a lot of choices, right? The choice card. Maybe this is about you kind of trying to find your divine, your path, your blueprint. I don't see the Judgment card here. Doesn't mean it isn't going to pop out, but maybe you're trying to figure out, like, what am I supposed to do in this earthly life, in this human body? And there could be several options afforded to you right now. And to that, I would say, why do you need to, like, kind of hedge all your bets on one thing? Is it possible for you to look at, okay, we have 4 choices in front of us. Is it possible for you to, like, just kind of be an intern of life for a second and just dabble? Just volunteer, intern, dabble, interview. So let's say you want to completely change your profession and you work in a restaurant and you want to go into real estate. But you need a job. You can't just you don't have any, you can't just, like, up and quit. You have to be smart about it. But you're really feeling like something is tapping you on the shoulder, or just, like, kind of I don't know why I blinked just now, but it's like something's bubbling up under the surface. You're really digging this sense of, maybe I should go into real estate. Maybe I should go back to school for it. Maybe I should get my real estate license, right? Okay, so I hear the sirens. Sirens, I live in the city, and when they come by, it's like emergency, emergency. Aries has to listen to this message. It's 1 cop car in front of my window. That's 2. So instead of just wondering about it, why don't you start asking people questions? Invite somebody to lunch at your restaurant, somebody who is in real estate, and just say, hey, I'd love to treat you to lunch at my restaurant. I just wanted to kind of pick your brain. It could be a friend, whatever. Can you tell me more about what you do? How did you get into real estate? I'd love to hear the story. I'm interested in it. I'm not really sure about it, but I'd like to hear more if you have time, and lunch is on me. It starts with that. It starts with an exploration. It feels very Page of Wands or Page of Pentacles. We're putting our foot forward, or even Page of Swords. We're putting our foot forward, and we're saying, hey, universe, I'm not sure about this path into real estate, but I'm going to explore it for a minute. Whatever it is, if there's that bubbling up within you that where you feel like you need to explore it, don't ever ignore that. That's spirit talking to you. Even if it's subconsciously, but then it's starting to bubble up to the surface, right? It'll be causing you a lot of confusion, but don't let it deter you. Let's be confused. Let's declare it. I'm confused. I don't know what to do. That's okay. You still have your job. You're not quitting anything. Although some people do that. Some people just embody the fool energy, throw caution to the wind, just say, F this. I'm going to go after my dreams. But that's when they know what their dreams are. If I feel as though you're just, the myriad of things is like overwhelming to you. And I feel like you're trying to figure it out, because again, this is very seductive. This framing keeps me safe. I understand this ideology. I understand this conception of what one should achieve in life. When I start questioning that, it becomes very fragmented for me. So I feel, and Aries, you know, they call you the babies of the zodiac. You're brand new, astrologically speaking, but you're not afraid. You don't need this framing. I just heard go big or go home. The next card out is the Gardener. Number 27 introduces to a 9, which is the Hermit energy. Taking a moment out to listen to yourself. The Hermit energy can talk about entering into our dark night of the soul phase, where we're questioning what our life path is and our identity. So this is really beautiful, because it talks to me about planting new seeds. This you already know. This seems like an outlier. I mean, look at how large this plant is in comparison to these. This seems like extraordinary. An extraordinary change, an extraordinary shift. It's important to you, this whatever it is that you want to plant. Because even the way that she's holding it in her arms, it's like she's hugging it. It's important to you, whatever this is. Whatever you're thinking about while I'm saying whatever this is, that's the thing. If it's like you want to change careers, you want to write a book, you want to have a baby, you want to get a divorce, you want to get married, you want to travel the world. Whatever it is, it's important to you. Here come the sirens again. 2 of Cups in reverse. Clarifying that. Connecting to our higher aspect. Connecting to our higher selves. Divine union, divine partnership. That's what the 2 of Cups is all about. You and your higher self. Because when we connect with our higher selves, then we naturally attract beautiful, beautiful soulmates towards us, because we're just totally embodying our truest form. And that's so attractive. You ever meet somebody that's so comfortable in their own skin? Doesn't matter what they look like on the outside. That is such an attractive quality. I love when I can, because I'm an empath, right? So it's like, I can feel your energy. And when I meet people that are so comfortable in their skin, they have nothing to prove. They're kind. Nothing really phases them. Or if it does phase them, they don't take it out on other people. They just say, hey, I'm really phased by this. I'm really upset by this. They're just honest about their feelings. And when we connect with our higher self, then we embody that too. And so this is what I see you trying to do right now. You're trying, see how these two, it's like this plant here, it's like, it's weird how it wanted to come out. It's like you're trying to grow your divine partner. That's interesting. Planting the seed to grow your divine partner. But it's like this is a part of you. Interesting. That's very interesting. Like, trying to lay the foundation to set you up for success in this exploration of the self. I'm going to clarifier on the Two of Cups in the reverse. Why is the Two of Cups in reverse? What is the hindrance here? Not so much a hindrance. I was just talking about how as an empath, and here comes the High Priestess. Number 2 in the Major Arcana, Pisces energy. I love the High Priestess. I love the High Priestess. I love being the High Priestess. Thank you very much. The High Priestess sits at the veil between worlds. Here come the sirens again. I mean, now I'm a little worried about like what's happening in my neighborhood. But sits at the veil between worlds, knows all, observes, says nothing. Sorry, Aries. It is annoying. I apologize. But what it speaks to is that there has been a disconnect between you and your intuition, you and your gifts, your spiritual gifts. That could be why there's this hermit phase being alluded to. Because in hermit mode, when we kind of blast the ego open, could be hard to talk about. When we blast the ego open, when we undermine all of our fears, when we try to redefine ourselves, our truest selves, that's when our spiritual gifts start to come online. And there could have been a denial of that. Maybe your spiritual gifts scare you. Maybe you don't know. I don't know what the hell is happening right now, but it's also starting to annoy me, but it's part of your reading. Oh, thank you, Spirit. It's almost aggravating me now, and I'm sure it's aggravating you, but I don't edit my videos, so it is what it is. It's frustrating. You're frustrated. You're mad almost, because you know you have gifts. Maybe in a certain respect, you haven't been allowed to explore them because we have earthly concerns to deal with. Like, I can't be like meditating when I have to take care of my kid or go to work every day. Can't you? Remember, this is a choice card. Why can't you? We make time for what we prioritize, right? You either prioritize it or you don't. But saying that you don't have time, there are a lot of people that can say they don't have time. There are people out there that are busier than you, Aries. And there are people out there that are doing 1/10 of what you're doing, but it's all about what you want to prioritize. The next card is Eva, number 16, which is the Tower card. Things coming down. That's very interesting that they're stopping short. It's almost like all the sirens are stopping like right in front of you. Kind of gonna ask you, ooh, my ear is ringing. Okay, all of this is not an accident. My ear hasn't rung in a reading in like maybe 6 readings. They're kind of asking you right now, your spirit guides are asking you, what is it that you're prioritizing right now? Because something could be threatening you. You could feel like things are closing in. Whereas on the one hand, this is really beautiful, but it's like is the space getting tighter and tighter and closer together. Eva is not necessarily a character in this deck that is a welcomed energy. Quite frankly, we don't know what to make of her. She's mysterious, but also, you know, she reminds me of like one of those mushrooms in the forest, or fungi, like that you just don't know if you can forage it. Now I'm thinking of that movie. What is it called? I can't remember what the movie is called. Why can't I remember? It's about the guy, Chris Candelas, or Chris something. He was the guy that left all of corporate America and his life that his parents wanted set up for him. Like, he left and he like went into the wilderness in Alaska, and he just lived off the land, and no one could get in touch with him, and he was loving his life, and he would keep a journal of it, and he learned more about himself out there. And then one day he eats something that doesn't agree with him, and then he gets violently ill and he dies. This is a true story. This actually happened. It was very, very sad. I could never watch that movie again. It's really, really sad. But it's the sense that you have to wonder, he chose that life, and he was far away from everything that could have potentially saved him. But he chose that life to try and explore his happiness. And in that sense, I don't think he regretted it. And I'm not suggesting any, like, that's a pretty dramatic example. Like, I gotta wonder, I think something is going down right in front of my apartment building. I might have to stop this reading. We're just going to continue. It's this sense that now the King of Swords comes in, the expert, the authority, the one who can cut through all of the mess here, all of the confusion. I think I'm going to keep this in. Do you know why? Because it's just the reality of life. We're all making choices every single day to the best of our ability, using our intellect, using our intuition, using what we understand to be the truest expression of our selfhood. And sometimes we can make mistakes, and sometimes we have victories. But I think that this particular moment in your life, you are putting all of what you valued into question right now to try and explore something deeper than you ever have experienced. And there's something happening in your dreams that is showing you part of that path. I don't think that the whole path is being shown to you, because that would be overwhelming. But there's part of that path is showing up. Your spirit guides showed up just now. Some craziness is happening outside. It's almost like spirit also, it's like there was some part that wanted me to stop this reading because there was just so many distractions. And I just had to choose. Am I going to stop this reading because it's not perfect? Or am I going to keep going because the message needs to be said? I made a choice. It could be the right choice, it could be the wrong choice. I just made a choice, right? So I'm going to read from both of these cards. The first one is the Castle. The Castle. The palace, the penthouse, the fortress. It's no wonder fairy tales tell of sleeping princesses within the castle walls. Like most archetypes, the castle is loaded with duality. It represents abundant riches, seductive fantasy, ornate wonders, and lavish adornments, yet the walls are thick, cold, and shadowy. This card points to a tendency to hold on to possessions, quite possibly a literal home, or position that project the image of achievement, while the soul longs to run barefoot in the forest, leaving it all behind. At times we must settle down, yet the castle lulls us with its spell of materialism, and we fall asleep to our deepest dreams. The castle can be a motivating force, an enchanting goal to travel toward, but it is best not to linger within its walls of decadent deception for too long. So now I'm going to read for the self. The soul, the witness, the watcher. The self is the prism that allows the spectrum of our personalities to radiate. It does not judge, prohibit, suppress, or oppress any of its parts, as it lovingly knows that all aspects have a time and a place, and leads us to experience the full breadth of life's offerings. The self is the central abiding container, the awareness of the infinite universe of possibilities. When this card appears, it's a call to step back into witness consciousness, to observe yourself navigating the world. Ask yourself, am I the stew or am I the chef? Didn't I say something about a restaurant? In most situations, our ego draws us into the cauldron where we swirl, spin, and smolder in the chaos. Yet the self is a graceful culinary dancer, watching, waiting, observing, as the spectrum of ingredients becomes the flavor of our life. Look in the mirror for 30 seconds or more. Attempt to see the you behind the you. That's your reading, Aries. That was a doozy. If you made it this far, I thank you. I hope this message resonated. If it did, please like, share, subscribe, comment down below. Please hit the bell notification to be updated as to when I post new readings. Thank you, Aries.